And if you all would like, please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Bowling.
Here.
Reed.
Here.
Lockhart.
Here.
Newman.
Here.
O'Doherty.
Here.
Shumway.
Here.
Behill.
Here.
Richardson.
Here.
Cumbie.
Here.
That's 9 present and 0 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. Next, if there is any public comment on non-agenda items, please come to the podium. Seeing none, we will go on to consideration of changes in the agenda. And I will, before I call for any public request, I will inform the public that Council has made the following changes. Item 9H from the consent agenda will be on the regular agenda, item 10A. Item 9J on the consent will be item 12A. And item 9K on consent will be item 13A. So with that established, is there any other public request to remove a consent agenda item and place it on the regular agenda? All right, seeing none, Councilor O'Doherty, if you can make changes to the agenda, please.
I move that the following changes to the agenda be made. That item from the consent agenda 9H to 10A, item 9J to 12A, and item 9K to 13A.
Second.
I have a motion by O'Doherty and a second by Bowling. All in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? That motion passes. Councilor O'Doherty, if you can set the agenda, please.
I move that the agenda be set as changed.
I have a motion by O'Doherty, second by Shumway. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That motion passes. Next, we move on to an exciting part of the evening, and that is our proclamations. And our first proclamation is for Code Enforcement Appreciation Month. Whereas the City of Laramie Code Enforcement Inspector is a dedicated, well-trained, and highly responsible individual who is committed to improving the community and our neighborhoods in the course of his daily duties. And whereas many dedicated officials provide for the safety, health, and welfare of our citizens through the enforcement of codes and ordinances in the areas of building, zoning, housing, and fire safety, among others. And whereas too many times their efforts go unnoticed, even after code compliance has been accomplished due to their efforts and expertise. And whereas the City of Laramie recognizes and wants to bring awareness to the importance of code enforcement to the City of Laramie, now therefore I, Sharon Cumbie, Mayor and President of the City of Laramie, Wyoming City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2025 as Code Enforcement Appreciation Month. And accordingly, I encourage our citizens to join us as we celebrate Code Enforcement Appreciation Month and recognize the efforts of our city staff and the code enforcement inspector to put towards preventing neighborhood deterioration and enhancing and ensuring safety through knowledge and application of housing zoning, building, and nuisance codes and ordinances. Thank you very much. And Mr. Sandoval, if you'll come up, and Director Teeny, would you like to say a few words?
Yeah, Mayor, Council, I just want to thank you for the proclamation. Today we've got Ray Sandoval with us here. He is our code enforcement staff member that is in the Community and Economic Development Department. I think one thing I just would want to point out is just that this position does provide for not only, some of the cleanup things that we think about, like junk cars and grass and stuff, but also a lot of safety components when we're talking about snow removal and some of those things that Ray also does during the winter months. And one of the things too, I'd say, is that this position is a difficult position. Very rarely does this position get to go interact with our citizenry in a manner where he's going to congratulate them on something. That being said, though, I think that Ray and his predecessor, and I hope whoever is in this position, really actually is kind of a community liaison for the city. They get an opportunity to speak, I would say, with many people, almost as many as probably any staff member at the city of Laramie does, and really gets to converse with them and find solutions to usually an issue that they have going on, which I think we do really well. And I think Ray could speak to this, but many times we do not have to go to any type of enforcement actions or anything like that. A simple knock on the door, maybe sometimes a little note on the door left when there's no one home, is really mostly what it takes to accomplish most of what Ray does, which is, I think, a testament to what he does, but also just a testament to the people of the community who I think honestly want to do what they should, right? And so with that, I thank you for the proclamation. Ray, I don't know if you want to say anything.
Yeah, I want to thank you guys. Derek, thank you for hiring me. And thank all of you staff, Bob. Oh my gosh. Miss Jordan, thank you very much. I appreciate everything you guys do for us.
And Ray, I just want to say how much I've appreciated working with you. And one day I had somebody complain about something. I went by and looked at it and I thought, well, I'm just going to run on downtown to see Ray. And I went up there and went into your office and we wound up looking at your spreadsheets and how you organize things. And it really meant a lot to me because it gave me a perspective of how much you do and how well you organized yourself. But one of the things that I've really noted and appreciate so much about you is your compassion toward others, and that you recognize sometimes people just get in a fix. And I've seen you try to help them work their way out of that fix. And I just really appreciate that. I think it's a super service to our community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would you all like a picture? Can we?
Sure. Picture. I'll put this for you.
Oh, okay.
It's all
Well, this is a night for the planning division. So our next proclamation is on Community Planning Month. So, whereas change is constant and affects all cities, towns, suburbs, counties, boroughs, townships, rural areas, and other places. And whereas community planning and plans can help manage this change in a way that provides better choices for how people work and live. And whereas in Laramie, thoughtful planning has led to exciting progress, including the Forge Laramie Comprehensive Plan Update that is shaping our city's future vision, the Reconnect West Laramie Initiative, improving neighborhood connectivity and safety, and collaborative efforts to address housing needs through innovative strategies and partnerships. And whereas community planning provides an opportunity for all residents to be meaningfully involved in making choices that determine the future of their community, as demonstrated by robust participation in public workshops, neighborhood meetings, and steering committees guiding these efforts. And whereas the full benefits of planning require public officials and citizens who understand, support, and demand excellence in planning and plan implementation. And whereas the month of October is designated as National Community Planning Month throughout the United States of America and its territories. And whereas the American Planning Association and its professional institute, the American Institute of Certified Planners, endorsed National Community Planning Month as an opportunity to highlight the contributions sound planning and plan implementation make to the quality of our communities and environment. And whereas the celebration of National Community Planning Month gives us the opportunity to publicly recognize the participation and dedication of the members of the Laramie Planning Commission, as well as citizen volunteers and advocates who have contributed their time and expertise to the improvement of our city. And whereas we recognize the many valuable contributions made by professional community and regional planners in Laramie, and extend our heartfelt thanks for their continued commitment to public service and their role in advancing projects that make our city more connected, more resilient, and more livable. Now, therefore, I, Sharon Cumby, Mayor and President of the City of Laramie, Wyoming City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2025 as Community Planning Month in the City of Laramie and encourage all residents to join in recognizing the role of planning in creating a thriving, inclusive, and forward-looking community. Thank you. Director Teeny?
For some reason, everything, I guess, falls in October for community and economic development. We do have two of our staff members. I was like, where'd you go? Okay. Both Joseph and Emma are here tonight. Philip is on vacation and so was unable to join us. But I think what I would just say is, once again, I think thanks goes to the city council, but also the community in terms of supporting the planning efforts that we embark on every day and that we go through, year to year. A lot of the things that we do within our office, sometimes we don't see and we don't realize until many, many years after we get done with them. And that goes for the council as well. Many of the things that you do up here, especially when it comes to adopting plans and participating in the kind of public input process, we may not see until 10, 15 years beyond now. And I think that sometimes that's hard to grasp, but I think though it's very important as we do get a chance to shape our community through those efforts, whether it's we're planning, helping plan for parks or trails, or working with our public works department on streets and roads, or whether we're, doing things like the Forge Laramie process that we're going through right now, where we're kind of developing a vision for the community that will help shape some of the things that we do throughout the rest of our process. And so, I just want to thank the staff, the planning staff here, as well as the community when it comes to participating in those efforts. So that's all I have. I don't know if you guys want to say anything, but said it all. I said it all. That's great. Thank you.
I just want to say just what a delight it has been to work with the entire planning department. And I especially appreciate the efforts that have been made toward community outreach in these past years. And you made a good point, Director Teeny. You have a bright idea, and then when we start to implement it, I was surprised when I got on council. You're looking at a minimum of 2 years and probably 3 before it starts to take form. And it takes vision, and it takes stamina and stick-to-itiveness. And I see that in the department. And I had the privilege of working with the Housing Coalition, with all 3 of you, and with Emma on the development and formation of the Housing and Land Trust. And so these are tremendous accomplishments, and thank you all. And I look forward to working with you more. Yes, Councillor O'Doherty.
Since Councillor Lockhart isn't here in person, I'm sure he would, well, I shouldn't speak for him, but I would, I want to put in a plug for our planning commission that's mentioned in the proclamation, but they were so professional when I watched their meetings and the deliberation that goes into all their decisions. We're really lucky to have those folks on board. So thanks.
And thank you for recognizing them. Councillor Lockhart, and you do not need to turn your camera on.
Okay, thank you. I look so good with oxygen. I just want to echo Councillor O'Doherty's comments. I do agree, and I get to sit in on the planning commission meetings where every time I'm in there, of course, one of the planners is in there, if not 2 of them. So it's fantastic, and I've learned a lot being in there. So I appreciate that whole crew. Thank you.
All right. Some well-deserved recognition. I do not think we have any public hearings tonight. City Manager, are there any announcements?
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, we have 2, and we will start with Public Works.
Good evening, Director Webb.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Just wanted to bring you up to date on the North Tank activation plan. So as you may recall, North Tank went under substantial completion about a month ago. The city took over the operation of the tank and the pump station. about 2 weeks ago. We pushed water into the Cirrus Sky area out of the tank. And just this morning, water was pushed to about half of Zone 3 up into the Alta Vista area, everything north of the golf course, kind of between 30th and Apache and up in that area. My understanding is there's a map on Facebook. Owen did a press release for us that shows that area. I know about a year and a half ago, we had a work session and we kind of talked about the doom and gloom that would occur that could occur when we did this. And I'm happy to say that our professional water operators have so far eliminated all that doom and gloom. We had no issues this morning. We had customers may have seen a little pressure changes as the water direction started to change. But other than that, everything's been pretty good. Residents may notice a little bit of discoloration in the water. Shouldn't be an issue. We haven't had any complaints on that yet. And my understanding is the water pressures that they will see will be slightly higher than what they were, and folks should actually be happy with that. So appreciate your time.
Thank you. That's really good news.
Honorable Mayor, City Council, good evening. As you walked in today, you probably saw that construction on our facilities has begun. What you have in front of us now is we have 14 months of potential construction, which is the renovation of the 3 floors of the annex in the basement of this building. I would encourage you to keep it light on that side of the building because there's a gaping hole right next to the foundation. No, I'm just kidding. But there's a lot going on. The contractors have done a great job. And I want to also say that our staff has been amazing through the move. We moved finance out to the Municipal Operations Center. We moved HR, Community Economic Development, and all their arms and fire prevention to the Boomerang building. And then we moved the attorney's office up to where HR was sitting. And it has gone with bumps and bruises, but it has really gone very well with everybody's help and consideration during this time of change. So just want to remind you that we've got about 14 months of construction, but we are looking forward to what this will turn into when we get done. Thank you.
Thank you. And I know this was a heavy lift for staff, but from the outside looking in, it just looks so seamless. So thank you for all the effort that you've put into this. Is that it? Okay. Counselors, are there any disclosures and or conflicts of interest? Seeing none, we will move to the agenda. Counselor Newman, item 10A. Oh, sorry, I forgot that part. Let me get back. So Counselor O'Doherty, if you can please approve, make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I move that the consent agenda be approved and that each specific action on the consent agenda be approved as indicated.
Second. Motion by O'Doherty, second by Vigil. City Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Bowling,
Yes.
Freed,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Shumway,
Yes.
Vigil,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Now we'll move to the regular agenda. Counselor Newman, item 10A.
Move to approve the amendment at will employment contract between the City of Laramie and Gregory Wynn as municipal judge and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second. I have a motion by Newman, second by Vigil. Good evening, Director.
Good evening, Mayor, fellow council. A contract is effective October 16th, 2025 between the City of Laramie and Judge Gregory Wynn in consideration for helping with our municipal court judge and court dates. It's a 2-year contract, just like the last one was. So it would go through October 15th of 2027.
Thank you. Counselors, are there any questions? Seeing none. Oh, Counselor Lockhart.
Thank you, Mayor. And the reason I asked, and you and I spoke about this, asked for this to be on the regular agenda is just because the judge is one of the three positions that were responsible for the salary and whatnot. So I just wanted to make sure if there was any public comment that wanted to be made, it could be made tonight. So thank you.
Thank you, Counselor Lockhart, and also for making that suggestion. Any other questions? Counselor Newman.
I don't remember from the last time. Did his salary go up at all?
It went up just the normal 3% that all employees went up.
Thank you.
Thank you. Further questions? Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none. Back to council for comments. Counselor O'Doherty.
I'm comfortable with this. I've heard nothing but good things about Judge Wynn, so we're lucky to have him. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Further comment? City Clerk, please call the roll.
Newman,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Bowling,
Yes.
Behill,
Yes.
Freed,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Shumway,
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Cumbie.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 11, Counselor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to award the bid for the 15th Street Reconstruction Phase 2, Grand Avenue to Ivinson Avenue project in the amount of $219,847.30 plus contingency of $21,985 and authorize the mayor and the city clerk to sign.
Second.
I have a motion from Bowling, second from O'Doherty. Good evening, Director Webb.
Mayor, Council, good evening again. 15th Street Phase 1 project was reconstruction of 15th Street from Sheridan to Grand Avenue. We completed that a few years ago. And we had some mineral royalty grant funding on that project. After that was completed, there's about $54,000 left in grant funding on that project. And for Phase 2, which is between Grand Avenue and Ivinson, the Office of State Lands has approved us to use that funding on that project. So the project is primarily funded through special purpose tax, and then the remainder with the MRG grant remaining. The 15th Street Grand to Ivinson it's just that short block right there. As you know, the university finished down to Ivinson and through the intersection. We have that little section there that is failing. The base is bad. If you drive in there, you can kind of feel it. We tried to coordinate with the university's contractor while they were in there. Their workload just simply didn't allow it. So we're given a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back next summer. Actually, this contract will start June 1st. We'll want to make sure school's out, and they'll have to be completed by July 31st. The street will be fully reconstructed with concrete. We received 3 bids, and as you see, Big Hunks Excavation was the low responsible bidder. The project was designed in-house by our engineering group, and CMCA will also be in-house. So with that, we recommend award to Big Hunks Excavation for this project. Any questions?
Thank you, Director. Councilors, questions? Okay. Seeing none, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Back to council for comments. City Clerk, please call the roll.
Shumway,
Yes.
Behill,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Lockhart. Lockhart. Might have stepped away, Mayor. We'll proceed.
Or maybe he's still on mute.
We'll come back. Freed,
Yes.
Bowling,
Yes.
Lockhart, Richardson,
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses, 0 nos, and 1 absent, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Next, item 12, Counselor O'Doherty.
I move to award the professional services agreement with Tetra Tech Engineering for $99,449.00 and a contingency of $15,000 and approve resolution 2025-79, creating the project and transferring appropriations for fiscal year 2026 budget and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second. I have a motion from O'Doherty, second from Hill. Director Webb.
Mayor, Council, good evening. So the Clarewell is basically a 500,000 gallon tank underneath the water treatment plant outside west of town. The Clearwell basically holds treated or finished water, if you will, and allows for consistent flow from the plant into town. Earlier this year, we had inspection from the EPA, and they noted some issues with the way that's set up there. The plant was built in 1963. There's been lots of regulation changes over that time. The overflow from the tank there's an overflow from the tank so that if the tank fills up, the water goes out and the tank doesn't basically get damaged, right? In a perfect world, that never happens, and I'm told it's happened like once or twice in all this time. Our controls allow our operators to see what's happening there and really control the level of that tank and the flow from that tank. So that overflow in a perfect world is never used. However, the overflow is required to be 24 inches off the ground where the pipe comes out of the Clearwell to avoid any contamination. And there's also supposed to be like a splash pad or some engineered riprap in place, and those two items aren't there. To me, it was a simple solution. I'm like, let's grab the motor grader and we'll go grade this out and we'll be good. But the problem is the elevations there don't work like that. That pipe comes out and the ground is very flat. So we need an engineered solution for that. We went out for an RFQ. We received the 3 RFQs. We interviewed all 3 engineering firms. Tetra Tech is a great firm that has worked in this world a lot. They have a great relationship with EPA, DEQ, who we're going to be working with through this whole process to ensure that we get this right. We had 5 members on city staff that are knowledgeable with the water treatment process that reviewed and did the interviews and selected Tetra Tech as the most qualified firm. So with that, we recommend Tetra Tech to move forward with this. I wanted to mention the resolution is also creating this project. This project is currently not in the budget. When we put the budget together last year, we didn't know we needed to do this project. And then as far as funding, we're asking to transfer funding from the water treatment plant asphalt project over to get this design work done. The asphalt project we would like to do, but not as important, I guess, if you will, for this. So that project will be delayed. So with that, I'll take any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Director. Council members, questions? Counselor O'Doherty.
I just want to clarify for the public, the water in the overflow doesn't go into our pipes into town. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Mayor, through you, that if water was to go out the overflow, it basically flows out over the ground into a holding pond.
Thank you.
Yep.
Further questions? Counselor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Director Webb. Just for the public edification, can you give us a little bit of background as to the FY26 asphalt project? What the specifics are? And it sounds like it's not a big deal to postpone that, but what possible implications there are from that.
Yeah, Mayor, through you. So the asphalt in front of the water treatment plant is basically a gravel parking lot. It's been gravel since the 60s. It's always been gravel. It does take some maintenance for our folks as they bring in some more gravel, they grade it out and stuff. The public uses it. We have a water dispensing system there. So the public does use that and come in. But they'll see no change. It'll remain the same as it is, at least for now. And we'll take another look at that project next year and see where that falls within the priorities.
Thank you. Further questions? Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council for comments. City Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Newman,
Yes.
Freed,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Bowling,
Yes.
Shumway,
Yes.
Behill.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Richardson,
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 12A, Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve amendment number 4 to the citywide storm drainage master study professional services agreement with WSP USA Inc. for additional work with phase 2 stormwater funding feasibility study in the amount of $57,930 plus a contingency of $11,586, and to approve resolution 2025-78 amending appropriations for the fiscal year 2026 budget of the city of Laramie, Wyoming, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
Second. I think, yeah, I have a motion from Councilor Freed, a second from Councilor Behill. Director?
Mayor, Council, phase 2 of the stormwater funding feasibility study, as you know, wrapped up a few months ago with the passing of the surface water drainage fund ordinance and in December, and then subsequent billing starting in July. On August 5th, 2025, City Council adopted Resolution 2025-65, suspending the surface water drainage ordinance and directed staff to present some different options for funding the utility. WSP prepared and presented a work session on September 9th. That was to talk with you folks and consider revisions to the surface water utility. At that September 9th work session, Council gave direction on types of fee structures you'd like to see at your next work session. Since then, WSP has been working on that information and is preparing to present at next week's work session. However, with the project wrapping up a few weeks ago, this amendment and resolution is required to retain WSP services as their funding from their previous contracted amendments is just about gone. So with that, I'll take any questions if you have it.
Thank you, Director. Councilors, questions? Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Webb. One of the questions that I had with this is of the proposed ideas that we had asked for last time and that they are working on, will both of those ideas, all of those ideas, however many come forward, require their assistance in implementation moving forward? That was the one thing I didn't quite see in the information shared.
Excuse me. Yeah, Mayor, through you, I think that depends on where we end up. There's a lot of work that gets done behind the scenes, building the master files and the billing files and things like that. The GIS, the impervious area that WSP assisted with. So if some of that needs to be redone, then there will be further work with them. The other thing I want to say, if you look at their scope of work in here, we tried to guesstimate what was going to happen, right? A couple work sessions, a few council meetings, some work behind the scenes. If at next week's work session we get clear direction and we come back and we do some ordinance changes, we won't be paying this entire amount, right? This was kind of what we could think of and foresee, but there is a path to where all these funds are not expended.
Perfect. I really appreciate that clarification. Thanks so much, Director Webb.
Yep.
Any further questions? Thank you, Director. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none, back to council for comments. Yes, Councilor O'Doherty.
One of the things I would really like to know is the revenue from those different buckets that the histogram for the non-residential. Like, what's the revenue in each of those buckets so that we know what's a reasonable, like, how would this affect us if we capped it at some amount? What does that allow us to do, and what does it keep us from doing if we? So those are some of the things that I just want to be clear that I would like to see. Thank you.
Mayor, through you, just to follow up, we had an internal meeting yesterday. Director Wade came out and met with my staff and Aaron from WSP to talk about pretty much what you're talking about now. And then I met with Aaron and Elizabeth today virtually, and they were kind of showing me what they were working on. And I think we're going right where you're thinking.
Thank you. Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say thanks to the city staff for kind of working through this process. I know that it's been a hard issue, the stormwater surface fee, utility fee, for members of the public, for council, and especially for staff. So thanks for juggling all that and working with these folks to continue to try to find solutions. So really appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Newman.
Ditto with some added. I was one of the ones that got approached to remove this from the consent agenda, and they thought that we kind of weren't listening to them, but spending this money takes every idea that we have had and listened to, and some of the out of the box kind of ideas, and lets them present it back to us, which is what we requested them to do. So in hearing that it could be less than this, I'm okay with spending it to make, we need to do something, obviously, and this takes that step. So I'm okay with spending this money.
Thank you, Councilor, and I appreciate those remarks. Further comment, Councilor O'Doherty?
I just wanted to add, we heard a lot about out-of-town firms. This firm is a in-town firm. They have employees who live outside of Laramie, but the firm is a Laramie firm. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Further comment? Well, I just want to thank you all, the staff and councilors, for all the work that we've done on this to listen to the public, to incorporate and synthesize those ideas, to try to present them back to staff and give them reasonable guidance about what we want or what we're looking for. I think we're moving in that direction. I know that I have received comment, why are you even working on this? There's a lawsuit been filed. But we have a mission, we have a resolution to fine-tune this so that it is acceptable. And then we will proceed from there. But we've made a commitment, and I am proud and happy that we are continuing with that commitment, that we will finish the business that we said we would finish, and then we will go from there as things unfold. Any further comment? City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Freed.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Vigil.
Yes.
Shumway.
No.
Newman. Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 8 yeses and 1 no, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 13, Councilor Vigil.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve original ordinance number 2110, amending multiple sections of Title 15 of Laramie Municipal Code related to housing, as recommended by the Planning Commission on third reading in accordance with findings of fact and conclusions of law, and author the mayor and city clerk to sign the ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion by Vigil, second by O'Doherty. Director Teeny.
Mayor, Council, the item before you is third reading of the ordinance related to some of the amendments related to housing. We did place this on the regular agenda because there were public comments provided during the public hearing and second reading. You'll see there's 2 public comments included in the agenda center. Those were received prior to third reading. You then also received additional public comments from multiple people about the recommendations found in this text amendment, largely in support of the changes being proposed. So I would be happy to answer any questions that I haven't been able to answer up to this point. And that's really all I have.
Thank you. Councilors, questions? Councilor O'Doherty?
We had someone approach us at the farmer's market who was concerned that this change meant that a mobile home park could be put in their neighborhood. I don't think that's the case because, anyway, could you address that?
Mayor, Council, yes. The changes that are being proposed here would not permit that. If you take a look, what I can do is show you in the tables. So there's the 2 tables that are included in your staff report, as well as in the ordinance. You'll see there's some changes to, first off, the modular home community. That is a conditional use process being proposed for the R2M and R3 zoning districts. That's your true traditional mobile home park. That's what you have currently in code. You'll see that mobile home parks are being conditionally allowed through, you'll see in the table there. But to be clear, though, this is only if you're looking at something like, think Prairie's Edge. These are buildings that are put on foundations and built essentially to common building codes. The manufactured home communities, those are your locations found in the very bottom kind of part of your the table there, changing it from the R2M zoning district from conditional use to permitted. It's the one area we do permit those. And then also expanding it into the agricultural zone, which are commonly found. And it's the few larger areas that we have that would be able to accommodate this, kind of expanding that reach. So there are some changes there, but this does not mean that you would see what you would consider a mobile home being located within most residential zoning districts. Do remember, though, we do permit IBC and IRC constructed homes to be put on foundations throughout the whole city. And that's a pretty common practice now. On many of those units, you would not be able to tell the difference between that and if it was built physically right there on the property. So that'd be the clarity I'd be able to provide.
Follow up?
So I think the confusion was the terms manufactured home versus mobile home. None of that. There's no marks in that column. So no changes there, and it was only modular. So I think it was, oh yeah. So anyway, those terms, it's not something that most of us know the difference. So, thank you.
Thank you. Further questions? Councilor Newman.
Is there any public comment at the 5th Tuesday since I missed it? Was there any public comment on any of this?
No, nothing on this.
Thank you.
Further question? Okay, seeing none, is there any public comment on this agenda item? Good evening.
Sign.
No, you can just, if you just state your name for the record.
Sounds good. My name is Jordan Bishop. I'm a Laramie resident, have been for many years. My family's been here for 5 generations, in fact, and I went through the Laramie Public School System, graduated from UW in 2013, and I have intended to stay here for my entire life because I love this community. But I got to say, it's been harder and harder for me and my friends and young folks that graduated from UW to be able to stay here because of housing prices primarily. And so I would advocate for you to pass this because it would really pave the way for our young people to be able to live here. And you know the facts, we need to build 2,500 homes by 2030 at least. I mean, listen, we're going to come up with all sorts of good ideas every time that this comes up to not pass something. And listen, I'm not saying there aren't legitimate arguments and people have the right to be heard, but every year that we keep passing the buck down to the next council or year by year, the deeper that this crisis worsens, the more UW graduates leave, the more teachers that would take jobs here leave, the more small business owners that would start businesses here will leave, and it's just going to hurt our community. Change is inevitable, and so I commend you for those that have worked on this and worked on all of the pro-housing legislation that has been passed here. And so I would advocate for you passing this bill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for taking the time to come tonight. Is there any further public comment on this agenda item? Seeing none. Councilors, comments? Councilor Newman?
Obviously, I voted no on this in the beginning, and I'm still not happy with all the language. However, we do have to do something, right? And I think this is a good step that if it doesn't work, like they can come back to us and we can make changes again, right? And if we see a huge problem pop up, like then council can address it, or the future council can address it. And one thing that has popped in my head is Laramie wants housing, but not in my backyard, right? Sooner or later, we kind of have to stop that. And like the gentleman said, you know, my daughter, and I'm looking at the future, my daughter's gonna graduate from UW, and you know, what if she moves away? And then, you know, we have so many young people graduating from UW and LCCC and even WyoTech that move away because of housing. So I'm going to support it this time. It's kind of time to start making some changes and see if we can get housing here. And if it's in the wrong, let's bring it back and look at it. But I think we need to do something.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor.
Oh,
yeah, I just want to say that this is an issue that I think we've all heard a lot about from the previous two readings. And I think there could be some language that's tweaked down the line, like Councilor Newman said. But, you know, I know talking with folks from the Business Council, hearing public input on both sides of it, you know, I think this is a step in the right direction. And if there are some kinks, we can work them out. And I did want to clarify, I do think at the Fifth Tuesday meeting, we did hear someone in opposition to this, if I remember correctly. So I think we did. Oh, go ahead, Nancy.
Mayor.
City Clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. Brett Glass, had brought up a point that he wanted to make from changing R3 from P to C was a recommendation provided.
Okay, thank you. I'd forgotten that. I appreciate the reminder. Thanks. Further comments? Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to thank the staff for their work on this. I know they have been dedicated to figuring out where they can look at code to make housing happen in town, and that work is just really greatly appreciated from my perspective. I think they really took in all that was learned and heard during that 18 months and put it to good use. So I just thanks so much for that.
Thank you. Further Councilor Freed.
Thanks, Mayor. I forgot one other thing. And just for members of the public watching or here, you know, the planning department has the interactive map. If you just type in City of Laramie zoning map on Google, it will navigate you there through our city's website to understand the differences of the zoning. And it's a really fun tool to play around with, to have access to and understand, what can be developed and built where, and what this, ordinance would be addressing. But just a refresher, I know we've heard that a lot, but the more you hear it, maybe the more you interact with it and get some good ideas. Thanks.
Further comment, Councillor O'Doherty.
I talked to some planning staff about the request that we got from a family that sent us a letter that they were opposed to the changes to B1. But, and I really thought hard about it and talked to staff. And I feel like allowing housing in B1 is more benign than the things that are already allowed there. So I decided I wasn't going to try to do an amendment on behalf of those folks, even though they're my constituents. I would like to make them happy, but I feel like we need the housing, a nice, if somebody wants to buy a lot and they know that they can put in residential housing, that's redundant. They know they can do housing there instead of having it be a question mark if they buy a B1 lot and then they have to go through the whole conditional use procedure. Then they don't know if they'll be able to build it. And the other thing I said at the last meeting that I was uncomfortable with making things go through conditional because that seems more arbitrary. And I realized that was a disservice to our planning commission because they are not arbitrary. And even if we had somebody that had a bone to pick or something, they would have to convince the whole planning commission. So that I don't have that worry anymore. Thank you.
Thank you. Further comment? I appreciate Director Tini, you're going over the terminology a little bit, the differentiation between mobile home, manufactured, modular. There's a lot of terms out there. And during the 18 months that I worked with the Housing Coalition, I learned an awful lot about contemporary trends in housing construction, and that the stick frame trend is on its way out, and that some of this new technology brings in housing that is fabricated in a way that it's safer for the workers. They're not climbing up and down ladders, carrying stuff, that windows and that the parts that go together tend to be tighter. And I went from not understanding what manufactured housing was to a better understanding and recognizing that we must move in that direction, and many communities are. And as you distinguished, this housing is placed on a foundation. It is permanent housing. And so I appreciate your going over that and helping with that language. And maybe this indicates to us additional needs as we're out there working with the public to educate about those differences and what that really means in the state of contemporary housing construction. City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Vigil.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. And next we move to 13A, Councillor Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor, and I hope my notes are correct. 9K.
9K.
I move to approve
13A.
the emergency access route construction and maintenance agreement between the City of Laramie and STORWY1 LLC and authorize the mayor and clerk to sign.
Second.
I have a motion from Bowling, second from Hill. Director Teeny.
Mayor, Council, I had requested that this item be pulled from the consent agenda. Once we had it posted, we noted that if you take a look in the actual agreement, there's a section that references the International Fire Code, and it expresses the International Fire Code for the year of 2001. This is in section 2 of under the agreement portion. So it says 2001 International Fire Code Table. That should read 2004 International Fire Code Table. And so what I would ask is that we recommend approval of this. If you would make the amendment that that be allowed to be changed and that we approve that. It's pretty inconsequential, but we think it should be corrected just so that we're referencing the right fire code section. And really this agreement, all it does is provide a fire access during phasing of a project so that the fire department can get through the site properly and ensure that it's maintained. So. Oh, so the clerk is pointing out, yeah, section 2 in recitals and in the agreement part. So there's 2001. So changing the 2 references to 2001 to 2004.
Do I have a motion for an amendment? Okay, Councilor Newman.
Make a motion to amend the recitals number 2 to say 2024 International Fire Code. And under the agreement number 2, same language, 2024 International Fire Code instead of 2021.
Second.
I have a motion from Newman, a second from Bowling. Is there any public comment on this amendment? Motion. Seeing none, back to council. Any comment on this amendment? Yes?
Thank you, Mayor. I would just want to commend Director Tenney for your due diligence in making sure that that comes to our attention and pulling it for us. Thank you so much.
That's
the kind of city staff that we really love to keep on.
City Clerk, if you can call the roll.
Bowling.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
That motion passes. So that was the amendment. And now back to the motion 13A. Is there any final comment from counselors on that? Seeing none, is there any public comment on 13A? Seeing none, City Clerk, if you can please call the roll.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Hill.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Bowling.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Richardson.
Yes.
Cumby.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Item 14, Councilor Hill.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to acknowledge receipt of the A, program audit of Laramie's $33.5 million business support grants, and B, life cycle report of Wyoming Smart Capital Network's business support lending program.
I have a motion from Hill, second from Newman.
Good evening, City Manager.
Good evening, councilors. So I had mentioned these two reports recently, and council had asked that this item be brought to the agenda as a point of information, I guess. So let me cover what we're talking about this evening. As you know, the city of Laramie has secured many grant awards through the Wyoming Business Council over the years. Since 2009, we have secured 15 grants from Wyoming Business Council for revenue generating projects in Laramie. Recently, the Wyoming Business Council did have their staff work with us here at the city and our sub-grantee, which is the Laramie Economic Development Corporation, and its successor agency, which is the Laramie Chamber Business Alliance, to pull together data that shows how those grants have affected our community, the job opportunities, wages, and those sorts of things. What I would liken this as is a program audit, not a financial audit, but a program audit. So we've provided for you tonight in your packet the results of the Business Council's program audit as it was presented to the Wyoming Business Council's Board of Directors at their meeting in September. And if you refer to that document, maybe the clerk will pull it up for us. Oh, it's okay, Nance, if you don't, I know the council have it. The findings were this, that of the 15 revenue generating projects in Laramie, $33.5 million of grant money invested into the community. We've seen some notable return on that investment for our community. The project inputs went to a number of businesses that are listed on the slide that is in front of you. Largely grants at $27.2 million, although the city did take on $1.1 million in loans as well to support the growth and activities of the businesses you see listed here and at the amounts you see listed. What really strikes me when I look back on this history, and it's sort of an interesting moment in time for me to be reflecting on my time in Laramie, is it's really fun to look at this list and know that these are some of Laramie's most successful businesses, and lots of jobs have been created there using these grants over time. If you go to the next slide, the Business Council found that the cash outputs of those projects is a gross revenue increase of $5.4 million, net revenue increase of $2.9 million. The city has accrued to its Economic Development Fund $2.4 million in proceeds that were generated from the initial grant investment. And we use those funds, as you know, Council, from the Economic Development Fund to pay for future and subsequent economic development activities in our community, whether that's the construction of infrastructure to facilitate business growth and expansion, or other projects as you approve. The balance that we have cash on hand right now in the community between the city and the Economic Development Group is $220,000. And then moving to the next slide, that business growth, as we know, not only creates net revenue, positive assets in those businesses and new jobs for individual residents, but it also generates maybe additional tax revenue and revenues that can support your city and county government activities. So what the Business Council found is that that $33.5 million investment is generating additional taxes and fees of about $113,000 per year to support government services. Also, number of physical assets were built in terms of buildings, and we are recouping lease proceeds from those. Those lease payments total $355,000 per year. Total assets are $40 million, and the economic impact in terms of jobs is that $33.5 million created and has, more importantly, sustained over many years 200 additional jobs in this community. So the takeaways the Business Council staff landed on in the last slide here is to remind us all here in Laramie, and also the folks at the state who work in economic development, that none of our state grant programs or efforts yield immediate results. They take many, 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 many years to see those investments come to fruition. But when they do, certainly that's a success story over time. So that is the Business Council report. And if you're ready for the next report, I'll wait for questions and then move on if there are none.
Councilors, any questions on this report? Or I wonder if at this time, any questions or comments? Councilor O'Doherty.
I have a comment. I remember when we lost in situ And I'm happy to see who we retained because of this effort. So thank you. Because I don't want to just bring people from outside when we have homegrown businesses that really do a lot for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. Continue.
Thank you. So the other major activity the city has been engaged in over the last decade and a half with respect to economic development really started in late 2010, when the cities came to realize that a federal grant program that was funded initially under the Obama administration, it was called the State Small Business Credit Initiative Program. It was a new Department of Treasury program. Funding that had been allocated to states had not been taken in Wyoming. And so the cities had an opportunity to take that money if we came together as cities and towns and formed a consortium. That amount of funding that was allocated in what we call SSBCI, that's State Small Business Credit Initiative Program 1.0, was $13.1 million. So with the blessing of council, myself and former Mayor Scott Molnar spent a lot of time talking to as many of the 99 cities and counties, or cities and towns, excuse me, as would visit with us about it, trying to form a consortium so that we could access this money that otherwise would have been left unspent in Wyoming. We were successful in forming a partnership of 17 cities and towns, Laramie being the lead city, which was required under the federal legislation. They had a lead city who would take responsibility for all of the effort to come thereafter. The Wyoming Smart Capital Network concluded the work of making that $13.1 million go to work in the state by 2017, which allowed us to morph the program into some different types of activities that weren't allowed under the rules of the original program. So I'm going to talk about how that evolved. And this is from a report that was given last month also to the Wyoming Smart Capital Network's advisory board when we came together in Casper. So since the life of the program, which got underway finally in 2012 after a year and a half of work, 228 small business loans have been supported in Wyoming, supporting 208 businesses. The reason for that, of course, is some of the businesses have had multiple loans. 1,108 jobs have been created, and I should note that the jobs created under this program can be any kind of job, right? It doesn't have to be a primary job. It can be literally food service. It can be a moving business. It can be any kind of job, where the business council jobs that we talked about earlier are considered primarily primary jobs, and for Laramie had to have a certain fairly high income threshold in order to be the type of jobs that we were courting. The Smart Capital Network, by comparison, can be any kind of new job. The program's created $30 million in annual wages in the state of Wyoming that did not exist previously. 80% of the businesses supported, as you'll see on the next slide, are considered very small businesses of 10 or less employees. 59% in rural communities, 22% are in low to mediate income communities. Laramie is most of those 22%. Women and minority-owned businesses also were a focus and emphasis area under the Smart Capital Program. 29% of the businesses supported falling into that category, and 21% were startups. So we took the original $13.2 million and we have recycled it 2 times at this point, which means $153 million in loans have been leveraged. That's a return on investment of $10 in private capital for every $1 of Wyoming Smart Capital Network capital. I want to highlight the red statement at the bottom of this. What's really cool about this is those 17 original cities, including your lead city, Laramie, have never put a dime into the program. Sweat equity is all we put in. Some cities have put a little more sweat equity. I'm just going to say that. Notably myself, who's chaired this committee for 14 years. But we have contracted with development capital networks to actually be our staff and perform the services of it, and we pay them through the proceeds of the program. So other than sweat equity, your municipalities have done this, but really not had to put a single cash dollar in. Next slide. Wyoming Smart Capital Network in 2017-18 was able to make a loan, basically, of $1 million to access and draw in another grant to create, I call it our spinoff of Smart Capital. It's called the Rural Development Fund. We put $1 million to a matching grant, and we're able to pull in $4 million from EDA and a $170,000 grant from USDA to create the Rural Development Fund. Why that mattered is we were limited to only making loans to businesses in the original 17 municipalities. When we created the Rural Development Fund as a spinoff economic development agency, they can make loans in any city, in any county, in any part of Wyoming. So if you want to look at Laramie specifically, we have made loans to 20 local businesses through this program. By county, you can see Albany County is the 4th highest, which given the relative strength of our local economy is pretty good. You'll see Natrona, Campbell, and of course, Laramie County, our neighbor to the east, have had many loans being much larger economies. What's really cool too is we do this with banking partners. It's not just Wyoming Smart Capital Network. We collateralize or we support loans through private lenders. So we have tons of banking partners around the state. And in the next slide, you can see our super user banks under the various phases of the program, from the original CSP from 2012 to 17, and then the secondary programs that we've been able to create after 2018. So our banks win too, not just businesses and not just cities in supporting those businesses. And then the last slide, really what's fun about this program is it is an evergreen fund. So we just keep recycling those monies. The board is reckoning right now with the fact that we are reaching the limitation of recycling those. And so our retreat last month in September was to try to figure out what's our future look like and what do we do next. So more to come on that, and I'm sure you'll hear from folks about that. Okay, I've gone on and on. There's your report. But I hope that that is informative to you all.
Thank you, City Manager. Councilors, questions or comments on this part of the report? Yes, Councilor Bowling. I agree. Wow, that's pretty amazing. I really appreciate that report. Yeah. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? All right, seeing none. Any final comments? Councilor O'Doherty.
I want to thank our city manager for always thinking about our community, not just our city, and that, like, just not the municipality, but that we're part of this whole community, and that you're always looking for opportunities to help the whole community. And now I'm broken that you're leaving. Thank you.
All right, City Clerk, call the roll, please.
Behill.
Yes.
Bowling.
Aye.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
Richardson.
Aye.
Cumbie.
Yes.
That's 9 yeses and 0 noes, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. And now to our last agenda item of business. Item 15, Councilor Freed.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve Resolution 2025-80, appointing a subcommittee to review city processes and procedures used to receive and evaluate community partner applications and award grant funding, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign.
I have a motion from Freed, second from Newman.
Thank you, Council. We prepared the resolution based on your conversation a few weeks ago at a work session about the Community Partner Funding Program and how you might like to approach revamping that program for the upcoming lending season. Or granting, not lending. Sorry, I'm on the last presentation. For the upcoming grant cycle. That grant cycle will get underway through the process of accepting applications in December. So you'll see in the resolution that we have kind of negotiated a deadline or a due date for your work with you of being, what did I say, December 1st here? Yes, December 1st. If you feel like that's realistic, that would be great. If not, I wanted to bring that to your attention. We do typically put out solicitations for grant applications in mid to late December. So otherwise, we just need you to assign folks to work primarily with the executive assistant in my office, Nancy Oakland Potter, although she might pull me in from time to time as needed to help you get this done too.
Thank you. So I think what we had determined is that 3 members would serve on this work group subcommittee. And I would like to open the floor for nominations. You can nominate another council member or yourself. I would like, Councilor Newman.
I'd like to nominate Councilor Bowling, since we brought this up.
Councilor Bowling, do you accept?
I do.
I would like to nominate Vice Mayor Richardson. Vice Mayor Richardson, do you accept?
Sure.
Councilor Bowling?
Mayor, are we including the mayor in that 3, or is the mayor
can.
that 3? I would like to nominate Mayor Cumby.
I accept. Are there any further nominations? All right. So, City Clerk.
Mayor, you might have been headed in this direction, but I was going to say now if the council would like to make an amendment to the resolution to include those 3 names, that would be appropriate at this time.
Yes, Councilor Bowling, would you like to make an amendment to include those 3 names?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to make an amendment to section 3 of the resolution to add Councilors Richardson, Councilor and Mayor Cumby, and Councilor Bowling to the subcommittee.
I have a motion from Bowling, a second from Newman. Any discussion on this? Is there any public comment on this amendment item? Seeing none, back to council. Any final comments? Councilor Shumway.
Did the resolution include the title of Vice Mayor for Richardson rather than Chancellor, I think?
Oh, please. Thank you for that correction.
Thank you, Councilor Shumway.
All right. City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Bowling.
Yes.
Freed.
Yes.
Lockhart.
Yes.
Newman.
Yes.
O'Doherty.
Yes.
Shumway.
Yes.
Behill.
Aye.
Richardson.
Yes.
And Cumby.
Aye.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes on the amendment. So now we're back to item 15. Is there any public comment on this agenda item? Back to council. Council, any final comments? Oh, Councilor Bowling, I was looking up to the screen.
It's okay. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. I'll begin by saying, as one of the folks that met sort of informally on this, I want to apologize to Miss Nancy Oakland Potter for kind of maybe jumping the gun a little bit. Nancy, we love you. But as someone who's interested in this process, I don't think anything that we're talking about is drastic changes in the ideas inherent in this support funding, but rather to streamline, to provide more clarity around what is applicable and it is not, and to also provide like a larger and more instructive framework for this deliberative body to be able to make the best decisions possible for our community. So I look forward to doing that work before December 1st.
By December 1st, before. Thank you, Counselor. Any further comment? City Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Shumway,
Yes.
Feehill,
Yes.
Lockhart,
Yes.
Newman,
Yes.
Freed,
Yes.
O'Doherty,
Yes.
Bowling,
Aye.
Richardson,
Yes.
Cumby.
Aye.
That's 9 yeses and 0 nos, Your Honor.
Thank you, City Clerk. That motion passes. Next, is there any public comment on non-agenda item? No one online? Seeing none, is there any consideration of future council work sessions? Or do you have enough on your plate? Okay. Seeing none, I turn it over to Councilor O'Doherty.
I move that council adjourn to executive session regarding litigation, Wyoming statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Romanet 3, and personnel, Wyoming statute 16-4-405, lowercase a, Romanet 10.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned.